Alright folks, so as part of my DC watch along, I of course have to watch all the DC movies. Last I watched was Aquaman, and now I'm watching Shazam. Let's get into it. Alright, so I'll just say the intro to Shazam is very intriguing, which is what an intro should be, of course. It accomplishes that very well. And going into this movie, I knew sort of that it was about like a kid turning into this adult superhero. But other than that, I had generally little idea. And then, sort of connecting the dots to figure out that kid in the beginning, as of course your main villain, was interesting. I found that interesting. This film is actually very funny, which is, it does intentionally, unlike Aquaman, which seems to just flail its arms about and go do random silly things. But this film, of course, has good jokes, good comedy. Reminds me, dare I say it, of a Marvel film, which has nailed that perfectly. And again, I think DC is very good at, they should not be replicating the Marvel formula, which is, again, an idea that anyone with a brain would tell you. But they should instead, I guess, be trying to explore different styles. And with Shazam, they have something interesting here, especially, really good comedy. In particular, the moments I like the best, of course, there's a lot of humor throughout the movie, but really him figuring out his powers, especially when he's like helping an old lady, or not an old lady, right? Well, he makes the joke of an old lady. I just did that on accident, but helping a lady get mugged, or asking these robbers in a gas station to shoot him to test if he's bulletproof. That stuff, it's really good stuff. I'll say Zachary Levi is very convincing at playing a kid being an adult. An interesting criteria, but he is very good at it. Probably the best I've seen at it, because again, who the hell else? Maybe Tom Hanks in Big. He's got some competition for him, but it's not a role that happens very often. And of course, the kid from It, I don't know his name unfortunately, but he's also great. And everyone else is sufficient. The villain just sort of, he goes to the scene. He throws his brother out of a building, and I'd say that's like, I don't know if they meant for it to be hilarious, but it was sort of, funny. While also effectively being intimidating. And this villain in general, I like the eye. Maybe that's all it takes for me to like a villain, but cool character design with the scar and the blue eye. And I sort of dig this villain. Not super interesting, but enough. I will say though that while I like the main villain's character design, the 7 deadly sins have pretty lame character design. They're really just monsters, unappealing, not particularly threatening, I'll even say. And I think that could have been a cool opportunity to explore each monster from that sort of, place of looking at the deadly sins and how can we model a character after each one. I really like the self-referential, franchise callbacks where they're talking about Superman's bullet or like a poster of Batman and stuff like that, where they're echoing stuff previously in the franchise, characters and whatnot, letting you know that it is in this franchise, but it's a completely different perspective. It's from these kids in Philadelphia. They're not on this global scale like Superman, like Cyborg, like Batman, like Wonder Woman, like Flash. They're just on a regular plane. I will say that I'm typically not a fan of the best friends fight trope, which happens in a lot of movies, and it's very annoying and overdone, but it was passable here, I'll say. There's lots of heart to this film, and a nice message in this. Again, that's something that I think the DCU is missing. It's fine to have dark tones, and stuff like that, but you really need to have the character moments and the heart underlying it. And I think that, well, of course this film isn't dark, but it does nail the emotional impact that the scenes are trying to go for often. And then to top it off, everyone is a Shazam at the end. Sort of a funny sequence. Wonder how that will work, because apparently they are trying to do a sequel, so that should be interesting. Hopefully they don't drop the ball. They might. They likely will. I don't know why I'm saying that, because I quite like this movie, so maybe they won't if everyone's putting the same amount of effort as the first time. Could be even better. We will see. Although they did leave a little cliffhanger in here with Envy, the 7 deadly sin, running off. I hope they don't go with that, to be honest with you. Or if they do, I hope they do something actually interesting with it. And because I already expressed my dislike of how they sort of handled the 7 deadly sins as just these big ugly monsters. And of course the concept of envy was already explored in this film. Does it need to be explored in another Shazam film? My input is no, but if they can do something interesting with it, I'd be happy to see it. I'd be keen to see it. So of course, if you've been following my DC reviews, which the playlist is up there, if you have not, go check some of those out. This film is the funniest so far. It's the most consistent so far. It's unlike anything that had dropped up to this point, and even still to this day, unlike anything else the DCU has dropped. And I think that this film has to be an A. I enjoyed this film quite a bit. I think it was funny. I think it was a nice comic book movie. It was something you don't have to think too much about a whole franchise about. You don't have to get into the actual political intrigue like you might with a Batman versus Superman, but it's something you can kick back, relax, and enjoy enough. So I think Shazam is an A. Alright folks, so that's my review of Shazam, a movie I quite liked, which is something unusual for the DCEU. Again, if you've been following my playlist so far, let me know what your thoughts on Shazam are down below. I'm amazed it kind of took me this long. That one's been on my radar for a while because, you know, of how much people talk about it. I've been EDPC Reviews. You have been amazing, folks, and I will see you in perhaps another DCEU review or another video you click on. Your choice. Bye-bye.